Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be customizing the Vapid Flash GT in Grand Theft Auto Online. It's been over 2 years since I've customized this car, and I feel like my customization taste has changed a little bit, and this thing is also on sale this week, as I'm sure many of you are aware, so I figured I'd get out a new customization review, let you guys know if it's worth buying still to this day, or if it's not. So anyways, let's go ahead and start customizing. We're going to go ahead and upgrade the armor, as well as the brakes, the engine as well, and of course the turbo and the transmission. And God knows this car is going to need all of these things because unfortunately it has a pretty big problem, as I will mention a little bit later in the review. And to get started with the actual customization, we have some exhaust options. Now I do like the default exhaust because it is carbon, which is kind of cool. We also have the twin exit exhausts, the singular big bore exit, or the side exits in chrome or in carbon. Now, those are pretty cool, but I think I honestly like the stock exhaust the best. I like the placement of it, I like the space in between, and I like the carbon, so I'm going to leave the stock exhaust on the car. Now, for the front bumper options, unfortunately, only front bumper options, no rear bumper options, which is kind of annoying. We do have the race splitters, and we have that in primary, secondary, or carbon. We also have the primary paint track splitter, as well as secondary and carbon as well. Now, given that the rear end of the car doesn't really have any carbon on it besides the exhausts, I think that we're probably just going to go for the primary paint track splitter. I feel like that's going to be our best option. Maybe the secondary option would be cool, depending on what we can do. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for the secondary option. I kind of have a little bit of a build in mind that I am thinking of going for, so we will give that a shot. Now, for the hood, we have the stock carbon hood. We also have the classic sport hood, the classic carbon hood, or the race hood, and we also have that in carbon as well. Honestly, the carbon hood on this car, I'm kind of feeling it, not gonna lie. I'm almost wondering if I should go for the carbon race hood. In fact, I think that I am actually gonna go for that, which is rare for me. I almost never pick carbon hoods, so this is we're taking a new step today. Now for the headlights, we're going xenon. For the neon kit, we're gonna go all the way around just to lower the center of gravity a little bit, even if it's very, very slight. Now for the livery options, we do have the classic stripes. We also have the classic race flags, the classic flags with stripes. Oh, that's cool, except it doesn't go over the carbon hood, which is kind of annoying. I don't really love that, so we might end up changing that. Now, we also have the zero gas livery, we have the cell tower livery, we have the pisswasser livery, globe oil 7, GNB 41, junk 21, rum racing 11, or back to none. Now, I was really hoping that I was going to have a livery that I could work with a little bit more so here, but it doesn't really look like it. So I'm wondering if maybe I should just go for the classic race flags on here today, and then go for what I was kind of originally planning to do. So maybe we'll try that out. Yellow and black for the plate though, for sure we will do that. And then for the paint color, I am going to go for a Mariner Blue. Mariner Blue is a very, very good color on this vehicle. We could actually go for a Saxon Blue though, now looking at it. Maybe a Saxon Blue would be better. Let's go Saxon Blue. I think it's actually a little bit more of like a Ford color, which this thing is primarily based off of. So we will go for that. And then I think I'm going to go for a Frost White for the secondary color. Now I have done this build before on a few different vehicles, so if you're thinking that this looks similar to another vehicle, yes it does. For the trim color, we will go Frost White because I like that interior. I feel like that looks kind of nice. For the roof, we have the, what the hell? Okay. The Scoop V1 flag. That's so weird. We also have the secondary paint V1 Scoop. We have the carbon Scoop as well. And then we have that again. That's so weird that they have that for that. It seems so strange to me, but anyways, we will go for the secondary paint V1 Scoop. I think we might change that in the future. We'll have to see. For the Sunstrip, I think I'm going to go for a Vapid Racing Sunstrip. I think that's kind of cool looking, so we'll do that. For the side skirt, I will go for some secondary paint with the subtle skirt, maybe? I think so. Yeah, I'm going to go for that for sure. For the spoiler, we have the no spoiler option. We also have the livery stock wing. We have the carbon stock wing. We also have the secondary paint street wing, which I do kind of really like. So we might go for that one. Could go for the livery street wing as well. Not a super big fan of that though. And then we have these huge ones, which I am not a fan of and we are not going to go for. I'm gonna go for the secondary paint street wing. I feel like that's looking pretty good. I do like the look of it, so we'll go for that. For the suspension, this thing is super high off the ground, so I'm definitely gonna lower it as far as I can go. Now for the wheels, we also need to do something here, and I'm kind of thinking about sport category and maybe going for some endos on this thing. I feel like endos could work really well with this. Do we have the endo V1s though? Because the endo V2s are not super big on. The endo V1s, let's see how they look, and then I was thinking of going for them in the frost white. I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like I kind of like this. I feel like I'm digging this. And then for the windows, I'm going to tint them just slightly, just with the light smoke there. Now, the only thing I'm wondering about is that spoiler option. Is there a way that we can just get like this spoiler, but in white? I guess not. I guess we can't. So this isn't too bad. I'm not disappointed with this. I do have to say, I do like that carbon hood. I feel like it looks really good, but hang on. I also need to see, okay, there's no livery that could be on there right now. So honestly, I think I'm going to keep it. I'm pretty happy with how this has actually turned out, not gonna lie. I never go for carbon hoods, but this, I don't know, something about this just looks really good to me. It almost would look better if it was stock or just in the primary color, and in fact, I'm almost thinking about changing it. Oh man, do I be different and go for the carbon hood, or should I just go back to my roots and just, oh man. Okay, I want you guys to comment a 1 if you want me to go carbon hood in the comment section down below. And if you want me to put on the race hood in the regular color, comment a 2. So just so I can see. I think I'm going to go for the race hood though. So let me know in the comment section what I should have done, but I feel like this is the right call. I feel like it just looks a lot more complete. So that's what I'm going with. Anyways, let's take it outside. We're going to do a sound test as well as a full review on the car. So let's go ahead and get right into the sound test. I gotta say, guys, this thing sounds a lot better than I remember it ever sounding. That is so weird. I swear this thing used to sound terrible, but it kind of makes sense because it is kind of supposed to be like a bit of a rally car, so it kind of has that rally car like just sort of unhinged like sound to it, but I never remember it having that. That's so strange, but I'm really glad that it actually sounds good. That is pretty cool to see. Now, something that you may have noticed, depending on how knowledgeable you are about GTA Online, you may have noticed when I was revving the car there, and when I started accelerating out of first gear and shifting into second, it took a long time, longer than most cars should take in GTA Online. And that is because, as I'm sure those of you that know will know what I'm talking about, this thing has engine resistance, meaning it's not nearly as fast as it should actually be. Now, Rockstar did make some changes to engine resistance a couple of years ago and made it less evident and less obnoxious, but at the end of the day, this car still has engine resistance and is still nowhere near as fast as it actually should be. Now, if you don't know what engine resistance is, basically it makes a car over rev and shift really late. This results in pretty poor acceleration as well as a notoriously weaker top speed. So it is very unfortunate that this car does have that, but I'm almost feeling like, you know what, maybe it's not that big of an issue. I definitely don't think it's as big of an issue as it was the last time that I drove this car in my last customization. Now, I have driven it since, but I don't really remember, honestly. It was to get footage for like a top 10 or something like that, so I don't really remember too much about it. But it's feeling pretty good. Since they've made that change to engine resistance, I feel like this thing actually feels quite complete. Like, it's a lot better. Now, it is quite twitchy on the road, I must say. It does definitely want to kick out that rear end. I think a lot of this car was actually inspired by Ken Block's Gymkhana Ford Fiestas and Ford Focuses, so rest in peace to him. But this thing definitely feels, it's more inclined to oversteer than understeer, which is kind of cool for a vehicle that's all-wheel drive, because most of the time you will kind of find that it's actually the opposite of that. But this thing actually feels really, really good. It feels planted on the road and everything like that, and it also feels relatively quick. Now, accelerating from a stop, you will definitely feel the engine resistance, as I'm sure you guys will see here. When it gets to the top of those gears, sometimes, oh, maybe not, man. I don't know. It feels pretty good, actually. It's just kind of slow. I feel like it's when you get up into the higher gears, like right now, and you can really hear the engine revving, that it starts to become a little more apparent. Like, this car should be going a lot faster than it is, and you can kind of hear it. It doesn't sound like it's going as fast as it is. which is kind of annoying. But yeah, it's a bit of an issue with this vehicle. Now, like I said, the handling is pretty good, but this is a bit of a rally car, so we will just take it off-road super quick here and just see, you know, how it's going to perform. Now, I must say it does perform quite well, especially considering that the suspension is all the way lowered, as low as it can go. So that is pretty cool. Now, this thing does feel pretty good on-road. It feels pretty good off-road. The acceleration and top speed, though, are still a little bit stunted, so do keep that in mind. Now, this vehicle is on sale this week, but when it's not, it goes for like $1.7 million, or nearly $1.7 million, which is very, very expensive for what you were getting in return, especially performance-wise. But also the customization for this thing, although it's quite cool, is not that great. It's pretty average. It's maybe even a little below average these days in GTA Online. Now, it is a bit of an older car, but it is something to be considered for sure. Now, while it's on sale for just under 1.2 million, it's kind of a little bit more of a bargain to buy. I wouldn't necessarily even call it a bargain, though. I would say it's a little more reasonable in terms of what you're actually getting for the money. Now, I personally don't really think it's worth buying one of these right now. It just doesn't feel that awesome. Like, it's a cool car. It's a cool to have as, like, you know, a rally car or something like that. But for the money, there's a lot better things you could buy, like the Vapid GB200, for example, for like 940 grand. That thing will kill this thing every day of the week, largely because it doesn't have engine resistance, but it also has very similar customization. It sounds really good, and it's just as maneuverable and everything like that. If, in fact, maybe even a little bit more, because it is a little bit on the smaller side compared to this vehicle. So that is definitely something to be considered for sure. I do think that this thing is a bit of a ripoff, and I personally would say that you probably should not pick one of these things up, whether it's on sale or not. Now, obviously, you can completely ignore this and you can do whatever you want with your money, but if you are looking into getting one of these, I would suggest maybe a Vapid GB200 is a good starting point, because you're going to get, you know, similar performance to this thing, except it's going to accelerate better and also have a slightly better top speed, as well as it's, you know, got similar customization, and the performance that you're going to get is quite similar generally. So I would say the GB200 is a good starting point that I would go before I would go to this vehicle. Now, if you buy the GB200 and you don't like it, you can always sell it and buy this thing if you really want. But I would just generally say to avoid picking up the Vapid Flash GT. It's just not that awesome of a vehicle, especially for how much it costs, which is just way, way too much. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Vapid Flash GT in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this customization and review, a like is of course appreciated, if not dislike. Consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new, or if you're a returning viewer, and especially if you're a returning viewer, I know a lot of you guys are. And if you watch my content, you might as well subscribe. It doesn't really cost anything or, you know, do anything like that, and it does help me out. So I do appreciate it for those of you who do want to subscribe. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.